All right. Good morning and welcome to today's 5 for 5 devotion. So, my discipleship group, my D group, and our Olympians ministry, last week we were reading in the book of Joshua. We were reading about how God used Joshua to be the next leader after Moses to lead God's people across the Jordan River into the promised land. And once the people got to the land, they got to start living off the land. It was an awesome experience, an awesome story that seems like it almost didn't happen. Back in the book of Numbers, we read how God had asked Moses to pick 12 men, one from each tribe, to be scouts, to be spies, to leave the wilderness and to go over to the promised land and to come back with a report. And initially, these men came back with a pretty cool report like, hey, you need to see the size of the fruit. They brought some fruit back with them. This land is awesome. And so I think the people are getting pretty excited. Wow, we can't wait till we go into the promised land. But then the men start talking about the obstacles that the people will have to face. The fortified cities, how big the men are over there. They're like giants. There's no way we can defeat them. They had forgotten about the power of God and all that God had done for the Israelites already, all the obstacles that God had already overcome. And the people get filled with fear and they don't want to go over there. Well, two of the men step up. And in Numbers chapter 14, verse 7, we read about two of those men, Joshua and Caleb. They were two of the spies. And they said in verse 7, hey, the land we traveled through and explored, it's a wonderful land. And if the Lord's pleased with us, he will bring us safely into that land and will give it to us. It's a rich land flowing with milk and honey. Joshua and Caleb are focused on the goal. They're focused on the prize. They're focused on the fruit, how awesome it's going to be. And then they said, don't rebel against the Lord, all right? Don't be afraid of the people of the land. They're only helpless prey. They have no protection, but the Lord is with us. Don't be afraid of them. But in verse 10, we read that the whole community began to talk about stoning Joshua and Caleb. Why? Because Joshua and Caleb saw the fruit because they believed that God could do big things and nobody else wanted any part of it. You know, it's just like us. I've been like that even during this time of COVID. Like, well, we can't really do ministry right now because of all the regulations and because of everybody being afraid right now. But no, God is bigger. There is fruit out there. You may have things in your life where you say, look, I like to read my Bible. I like to spend, my family spend time in the Word, but there's just too many obstacles. My schedule, we can't do it. Or I'd like to serve God, but I just don't have the time, or I don't have the gifts. Or I like to reach my neighbor, but, it's just because of COVID and I don't want to upset them. And I'm not very good at that kind of thing. All we ever do is talk about the obstacles. We need to be more like Joshua and Caleb. We need to talk about the fruit. Like, there is so much right now that God can do. Let's go get it. Let's go make it happen for God. If God's on our side, he'll make it happen. And if he doesn't, that's all right. He's still with us. Let's go get it. The people, because they came up against Joshua and Caleb, they didn't even get to go into the promised land. Only Joshua and Caleb and the next generation got to go in. The people missed out on the fruit because they didn't think God was bigger than the obstacles. Let me tell you today, God is bigger than any obstacles you will face. If you only keep your eyes on the obstacles, you will never, ever get the fruit. You will never get to experience God's promises in your life because you're so focused on the obstacles. We need to be focused on the goal, the prize, the fruit that's out there for our lives and in the lives of others. You may think, well, this person will never come to know Jesus. They'll never believe in Jesus. They're stubborn. God is bigger than the obstacles. God can overcome my obstacles. He can overcome your obstacles. He can overcome anybody's obstacles. He can overcome the obstacles in this world because he is God. And we've got to focus on the fruit and go get it. If there's anything right now keeping you from spending more time with God, serving God, or sharing about God with others, put those obstacles away, focus on the possible fruit, and go get it. It will be worth it. I hope you have a great day. See ya.